Okay. Good evening to all you fellow TIs out there. Now, I wanted to make a video on the discussion, and it was out of it was some of the projects that I got planned for the channel coming up later on, and also some of my concerns with some of the stuff that they're releasing now. As you may know, if you've seen Vulcan Wolverine's recent video, or should I say live stream, last the other the other evening of yesterday, between both yesterday and around 12 this morning, earlier today, then, or should I say, this is most recent video. You would have seen the weapons that they're actually releasing to the public. That's mostly, meant, as they say, for scientific purposes. But here's my concern: there's two things that's a benefit and also as a risk when it comes to this technology. What I'm worried about is because I've looked at the chat, and what was going on is I won't say no names, but from what I seen, precisely what I was afraid of is a possibility. And what I think is there's two things. There's something good that could come from this, but there's also something bad that can come from this as well. I'm gonna tell you the bad part first. The bad part of what I'm concerned about is that with all the torturism that they've been doing around here to all of us, I'm afraid they're gonna try to use us as a scapegoat with these weapons. They're gonna, distribute these to the public, open it up to the public, right? And they want us to get hold of these, right? To an attempt to try to set us up and try to point the finger, say, "Oh, well, like you own said product, so you must have been using it for said purposes." They've been known to try, and I'm not saying that this is an exact thing that will happen, but I'm just stating that it's a possibility that it could happen. And if you haven't noticed these perps' behavior, the way that they are taught by the police is they are taught to hang on, let me because I'm supposed to be using my acupuncture pen right now. They are taught to basically act out and do everything that they can to trigger you into a state, in order to trigger a state of aggression, of anything like that. Anything that would cause you to commit a crime, an assault, a theft, anything like that, that would ultimately get you landed in prison. They're either doing this to get you landed in prison, they're doing this to get you landed in a mental, institution, or they're looking for an excuse to kill you. That's just the low down truth about it. What I think is that they're trying to unleash this stuff to the public so they can have a reason to get rid of us in some way, shape, or form. You know, that's what I believe. Because technically, we know we're the ones being hit by this. We've talked to all of us, even before me. There's been several other TIs who have talked about this issue for years, and for years, nobody. It was always, "Oh no, it's just superstitious nonsense. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, that person is just a little crazy. Oh, they're not all up there. They're in their own world." We've heard it all, man. We've heard it all, and honestly, I get that. It's so hurtful to hear that from someone when you know for a fact how much you've been going through, and as soon as you hear that, all of a sudden your targeting just picks right back up from where it left off. Everything that you just stated down, not even believed, and bam, you still got to deal with it on a daily basis. I'm very grateful for all to know that I'm not alone out there, and I believe all TIs feel out there feel this exact same. I believe they do. Now that's just my main concern, is that they're gonna try to flip the script and try to make us seem like the bad guys with those things. That's my main concern about that. But the good part about this, about them, distributing that to the public, is because there may be a possibility that we can actually look into more into this technology from our own perspective and see how we can actually develop more of a reflective effects, or even better, something that can ultimately block these frequencies completely. You know how such as an EMP generator, or was that the I can't recall the name, but I think it was something. It was some type of receiver that he had, but I can't. recall the name. If anybody knows, please leave it in the comment section. But yeah, that's pretty much that's just pretty much both the good and the bad about that. Is that they're gonna try to find a way to use us as a scapegoat so that they get off scot-free, knowing they've been going rogue and using these weapons on a lot of people for testing and human experimentation. Very illegal stuff, by the way. Even more so, not just that, right? Not just that, but the other thing that I'm concerned about is the lack of info that we have on fellow TIs within our own areas. So I wanted to work on that, and what I'm going to do, right? And this is what I was trying to tell people on my other channel, but I'm sending this video to the guide channel, so you don't even have to worry. You will hear this once it's uploaded. But understand what I'm going to do, and this will take time. It will. What I'm going to do is try to, and I need support from other TIs when it comes to this. Not funding, but I need all TIs to at least make one video on their channel with the title saying Chief Handler in the title. You may wonder, like, well, why would I ask this? Quite simple. You know, if you notice, Chief Handler has been bothering and picking with a lot of TIs, right? Nearly almost damn near probably all of us. So I figured out a way to actually use that as an advantage for our purpose to spread awareness and to find other fellow TIs out there. If you were to type something in the search bar of YouTube, whoever has made a video related to that topic that you typed in is going to show up. You will see a list of their channels. So think about it. If every TI did that, then their channels would show up. So when you do that, the reason why I'm doing this is because I want all TIs within every state to be aware of one another. This is how we're gonna know one another. But you got to understand, when it comes to this, the other problem is that there's some TIs who don't want to make a video, who don't wish to show their face. I understand, but you need to come to the understanding that, listen, you're being targeted. A large percentage of the community is after you to literally set you up on the daily. There are other people out there just like you. Understand that when you upload a video and you show your face and you give your statement, right? You give your statement of what's going on and all of that. All other TIs who see that are witnesses to your targeting. We are all witnesses to that. Other TIs are witnesses to my targeting. I'm witnesses to theirs. That's how we can all work together on this, is that we can all act as a witness for each other's case when it comes to this. Now, they can discredit one person as best as they can, but when it comes to a large amount of people in the same state being stalked by the same people, they cannot discredit that. They can't, especially if the evidence shows these perpetrators doing the exact same tactics to multiple people. They can't hide that way. That's why all these, I believe these gang stalkers do this stuff in shifts. They always do whatever little bit is expected of them, and that it's always different tasks when it comes right down to it. I do believe that there are multiple targets within a single state, some people who don't even know they are already being targeted. Some of them don't even know it, and it's already happening. And such as my case, because at first I knew I was being stalked. I knew I was being followed around. I didn't know why. I figured it was just, maybe I pissed the wrong person off or something like that, and they just had a vendetta against me. But I didn't realize that the situation I was in was this big. I didn't realize that this situation was this huge. I had no idea. Absolutely not. When the stuff went over, like it was very dark, man. I was in a very dark place when that happened. I didn't even know what was going on, what to do, or what to even look at, man. I had no solutions to this whatsoever when it first happened. And let me tell you, I was completely without any protection at all. I didn't have the recipe. until later on. And I believe if I had not have had that recipe that I shared with y'all, the rice cooker recipe, the seaweed and the brown rice and all that stuff. If I had not have had that recipe, I probably wouldn't even be around right now. Because honestly, when I say this stuff will put you in a high density in hypnosis, I am not joking. I have experienced this to the point where I nearly lost myself. I don't know what it was that pulled me out, but what happened was and I was somewhat conscious of this, but at the same time, I barely had any subconscious control. Now, what happened was, all I remember was that for some reason I ended up picking at the back of my head, right? And it just kept doing it like crazy. I just kept doing it, and bam, I snapped right out of it. As soon as I did that, I'm like, you know what? Screw this. I went straight to the nearest Walmart. I got the supplies for the Magellan, and it was really effed up what happened the entire time I was on my way to go get there. I got probed. I got hit with these energy weapons like crazy. It was insane. I literally nearly lost myself that day. I kid you not. I literally almost lost myself that way. I was immediately trying to get to the nearest bus stop to catch the bus, get myself down there, get the ingredients, and get the hell out of Dodge, and just head straight back home. Now, when this happened, my perps were pissed. They were pissed off when that happened because whatever it was they were trying to do, which I believe they were trying to turn me the hell out. What happened was a lot of freaking violent threats happened when I went and got that recipe, man. And the first time I realized they were effing with the buses was the first bus driver that showed up. The dude was very suspicious what was going on. The bus was just parked there at the bus stop. They never do that at that stop at all. Not at that mall. No, they just stop, pick up whoever's there, and take off. That bus was sitting there waiting for me with a whole bunch of perps on it. And the dude was stupid enough to tip me off because he's sitting there going like, well, now you know what he looks like. This was the bus driver who said this as I'm approaching the bus. So I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me. So I don't get on the bus. I don't. And I end up calling him out for what he was. I said, bye, gang stalker. And he was like, all right, fine. So basically, they thought that I was just going to convert over to wherever the F it was that they want me to be converted into. And I said no. And they got pissed about it. And it comes to mind to where, like, this is their mentality. If you disagree with them and their society, and their effed up, disgusting society, then they're going to be like, okay, turn that motherfucker out. Turn that person out. You don't agree with us, we're going to make a buffoon out of you. We're going to do this and we're going to do that until we make you understand. And that's the predominant structure of what this effed up society is. They are so effed up that so addicted to acceptance that they will force people to try to accept them for what they are and for what they're doing, such as them using the weapons. I said it before, I'll say it again. The mind speaks an entirely different language than the mouth. It speaks an entirely different language. Now, again, I want all TIs, if you can, well, it doesn't matter when, but someday, sometime, make a video with the title stating Chief Handler in there. Do that. Spread the word about it. Get as much TIs to do the exact same thing as you can. Since this bastard likes to troll, let's troll him and use him as an extension to reach out to more and more targeted individuals. So we'll have a more infrastructure to know who's within our vicinity who are other fellow TIs, so we can start looking out for one another. Because that's what it's going to start coming down to. It's too dangerous for us to even get and establish a community, especially with the lack of funds that some TIs have, especially with some TIs being homeless. We are in some really dark times right now, man. That's why I made the guide channel. The guide channel, I want whatever, like I said before, whatever funds go through there, is going to go towards helping other fellow TIs out there who are low on funds, who don't have nothing to really do much with. That's what I want to do. I want to at least give something back to the people who are suffering from this at the hands of this demonic organization, you know? Because honestly, if taxpayers' money is really going to paying for this destructive organization, I want to at least give that money to the people who truly deserve it. And that's the targeted individuals who have been suffering from this. And that's not just regular targeted individuals. That's the homeless targeted individuals, man. The people who have to live in their cars, the people who have to live on the streets. Those are the ones I want to help out, man. As well as other fellow TIs who also have their families and stuff, who are still trying to hang in there, survive this. And it's crazy because this, if we do not stop this, man, if we do not stop this organization, if we don't, what's going to happen? I mean, the next generation is not going to have the know-how of how to deal with this, because they're already, the video that I've seen, and you probably seen on my, if you have seen my other channel, Mischievous M, you may have heard me talk about it, and that video is incredibly graphic. I'm not joking about that. I'm gonna leave a link to it in this with this video. Remember, watch that at your own discretion. Please do. And if I'm telling you, because that will f you up seriously if you see what I said, man. I'm not joking. And a lot of things that people don't know, mostly, and what I've learned from watching that video, is that they used to have church as a regular ceremonial thing in public schools. So every morning, like whenever you would go to school, you know what they did when it came to that? I believe the ceremonial thing that replaced the whole prayer and Christianity thing that was in the public schools was the Pledge of Allegiance. You notice how they would just about at every beginning of the school hour, in the morning they would have you sing the Pledge of Allegiance when you were little. Because I know they definitely made me do that. I believe that's what it was. And from what they were talking about, is that we ended up in a state of society that ended up getting these other smaller, deeper states that ended up just believing, that sin was just a part of nature, that we should just embrace it and live out of it. And doing that is, acceptance of God. But it's because of that kind of thinking that led to this destructive nature that we have within our society now, as it is, man. They've got. I don't want to go into detail about the stuff that I seen in that video. Oh man, but I'm telling you, if you don't have it all up there, that video will fuck you up. And I apologize for my language, but I am not joking about that. I am not kidding. I am not kidding at all, man. I didn't even know that some of the stuff that they were doing, I had absolutely no idea. And then when I tied that to what they're doing with this gang stalking stuff, when it comes to these disgusting booty bandits, when it comes to this disgusting nature of these image that they're trying to frame on your character, right? It starts to make sense. It's all about control and want and forceful acceptance. So they're like, okay, well, if you're not going to accept us, we're not going to accept you, and we're going to force you to accept us. That's their mentality, man. They're basically a lot of these gang stalkers who they hire are basically social rejects who just ended up in the dozens, who gathered up, and they just started acting as if they were all cool, but it was bullshit to begin with. Half the stuff that they're doing is very retarded, I might add. And I'm gonna give you a prime example as to why. I didn't date out here primarily because if you're not aware, and Baton Rouge has the highest rates of HIV. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it as it is. You can look this up. It's true. I didn't date because of my concerns of that, and I didn't want to settle down and have a family, because I'm living out here. If it was anywhere else, I mean, fine. It's not that I haven't dated before. I've dated plenty of women, but I was never one to just jump from woman to woman. I never believed in that. I always Whenever I dated a woman, I always stuck with that woman until either the relationship broke apart, or maybe we just drifted apart, or maybe things just didn't work out. Or if things were working out, I would just stay with her. But as I said, if that or the other thing, that was it. But I never ever dated another woman while I was dating the woman that I was with. I've never done that, and I never believed in it. I've never cheated on any of the women that I've ever dated. Never, because I never believed in it, and another thing ended up leading me to believe that that was even more and more and more of the right choice to do, because here's a little story I want to break down for you. I'm not gonna say no names, but there was a man, and this happened with the females too in a situation like this. This man, he had a fiance, he had a wife, he has a wife, and he has an unborn son. One day, this man, in the middle of in the evening, sometime, not really sure when or where location, whatever, but this man ends up deciding to, how should I say, have a one night stand with a random female, right? Little did he know that random female had a disease. He contracted this disease by sleeping with her. He brought that disease, and this happened multiple times. He brought that disease from that stray woman who he slept with, who was not his wife. He brought that to his wife, slept with his wife. She contracted it, and by her contracting that disease, her son contracted it. You see how fucked up that is? Same thing on the female side as well. A female slept with a random dude, same shit happened. Her husband caught it, her child caught it. There you go. I can go on about this too. I'm not gonna say her name, but a cousin of mine, she worked in the pharmaceuticals, and there was a guy who actually tried to hit on her while he was picking up his HIV medication. I'm not making fun of people who have this disease. Don't get me wrong. I'm not doing that. But I'm just stressing out as to how serious this is. And honestly, some of the behavior I've seen behind this shit, dude, it's like people get off from spreading that, man. It's disgusting. It truly is. People really are just, these perpetrators are in that kind of mindset. They will spit in your food. They will spit in your drink. That's why I don't ever go to fast food restaurants. And again, if you're a target individual, don't fucking go to a fast food restaurant. Please, for your own safety, don't do it. Don't. Stop eating and stop drinking high fructose corn syrup. You need to understand, they lace their hands with nano. I've witnessed this. And not just me, there's probably multiple other TIs who have seen the same thing. And what's on their hands is the nano that's in the larvae stage. So they literally dip their hands in this stuff and literally will rub it down on the surface. This is what they do. That's precisely what they do to infect you with that stuff, man. But judging from how they do this like precisely when you're like getting in close proximity to whatever it is you're about to touch. So my guess is the stuff in this larvae stage can't survive very long out without a host. It can't survive on its own long at all. I don't believe it can. So as far as the fungus that they try to spray in your home or whatever, I have a solution for that. And it's because what they will do with chemical cleaners, and I'm very grateful for the TI who brought this to our attention. You know, her she already mentioned that she was the one who distributed the information. If you're unaware, she made the comment about it in one of the older videos of the channel. You'll be able to see that. She's a wonderful woman, and I deeply thank her for the input. I think deeply thank all. Well, not think, but thank all TIs for the knowledge that they input on this. And you need to understand that there will be deflection out there. When it comes to stuff that actually works, there will be deception. There will be deceitfulness, and it's because they are hired to infiltrate our ranks in our inner circle, in our little family circle here, into our TI family, to basically discredit evidence, lead us away from solutions, and basically try to get us to fight amongst ourselves. That's what they're doing, man. And I'm not letting it happen. Like, if they try to say, oh, well, this TI is the part, first off, I'm looking at the facts. If and has this TI that they claim to be a perp, has this TI been helping a lot of people out? Did they ask for money at all whatsoever in return for this service? Well, okay then. Then they don't have jack shit to say, because that person's not asking for funds. They're not trying to make money off of TIs or nothing like that. So what would they have to gain from lying? Unless they are being paid off underhandedly. But I mean, look at the depth of amount of look at the depth of amount of despotism that they want to keep a lot of this shit covert and covered up. So it contradicts that a lot, by the way. When they threaten you out in the open, first off, if you're gonna do something to somebody, right, and you say this, and something does happen, who do you think is going to be the prime suspect of that? The person who made the threat, right? So if they were going to do something, as well as them being taught by the police, they would not tell you this. They would not tell you what they're going to do. They would not tell you when it's going to happen. They would not tell you if or if not it's going to happen. If they say it around you, it's a freaking scare tactic. That's it. They want you in a state of fear. They want you in a state of desperism, because when you're in a state like that is when you're at your most vulnerable. They have more ways to infiltrate your mind and get to your neurons when you're in a state of fear. But they don't want you to know that. I recommend people, if you got bone conduction headphones, right, make sure your home is, make sure you double check and do a safety check of your home, and make sure everything's locked up tight. And whenever you try to go to sleep, definitely listen to the videos that I've recommended, because I'm telling you that a lot of that negative energy needs to be it needs to be released. You need to get rid of that. And because if you go through a whole day with all that negative energy building up, and then you go to sleep and you go to the next day, you're not gonna feel like you're all the next day at all. They're being told to keep you in a state of in a state of mind of negativity. They want to convert your kind-heartedness into cold-heartedness. They don't want you to be a loving and caring person. They want you to be a cold-hearted person. They want you to shun everybody away. And the thing, in my experience, when it comes to this, and it's just as I said before, I'm not a cold-hearted person, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to allow them to exploit me either. Oh, no. No. Absolutely not. No. Well, now, what I do is, as I stated before, I let the perps just go ahead and show themselves out for a bit, and then I just go ahead and reveal the truth. Now, when I do that, they have no way of discrediting what they have done, what they have said, and it actually brings out the truth a lot more. Now, you do that with the reverse effect and try to do that before they do anything. Well, who's the only person doing something? You are, right? So that's why I play the reverse card on them, so they can't play their covert card. They're still going to play it, but it's not going to really help them, because people are already going to see what they're doing and understand. But one of the other things that plays that to my advantage is that when they mess around with the meter, when the meter is still in the 50s, even when I speak out, that means that just about everybody in the vicinity is a gang stalker. So that means I don't really stand no gain from telling too much about to these perps, because, well, some of them know, some of them may not know, but they're not going to care about the meter being on. But if it's someone who is not a part of them at all, and they turn the meter down, that tells me that someone is in the vicinity who was not involved, and they don't want them to be aware, they don't want them to be awoke, they don't want them to see the truth. When it comes to a woman who likes me, they will get her out of the area, dude. When it comes to people who I can actually level with, and have a decent actual um, conversation with without any of this BS targeting going on, that person's gone. When it comes to someone who they are afraid that would help me out and would tip me off, they are not around because they are afraid of being exposed. So they say they control everything, right? So my question is this: if you control everything, what are you so afraid of? What is it? Why are you going out of all this trouble to cover so much stuff up then? If you are in control of everything, as you quote unquote would say. And this is to the perps. This is to the perps. This is to the handlers. These are to the people who so-called control all of this. Because you want to know what I believe? These are people who are in possession of this technology, who are being paid to do a little bit extra with it for personal gain, and who have absolutely no business doing what they're doing, obviously. And if they are busted doing this, they are going to most likely receive life in prison or the death penalty. Most likely the death penalty because of how severe the situation is. That's going way beyond martial law right there, way beyond. So that would definitely be the death penalty right there, man. So that's why they're so fucking afraid, and it's because well, if they get busted doing this and there's no way to deny it, they're fucked. That's it. They are fucked, and it wouldn't be the first time they were busted doing this shit. There's been cases to where TIs have actually proved the case and they won. So it's not impossible, but it's very difficult to do. It's very difficult, So again, related to all my other videos, understand this nanotech that they are exposing you to is insect based. It's a synthetic type insect base. The only way to kill this stuff off is with an EMF magnetical charge. Basically, an EMP generator. So, and the EMP acupuncture pen does just that. So these are one of the perfect things you could use. I have a video, as you may have seen, on this that will even link you to Amazon to see where you can get it from. It's already got the thing has a manual in there of the many different points of where you need to use this thing at, and what it does is it sends the charge through your bloodstream. This nanotech is all in the bloodstream. It's all under the skin, and that's how it's able to get in and out of your heart. That's how it's able to get in and out of your lungs, your kidneys, your intestines, all of that. That's how they're able to move stuff around so much. It's because it's in all those organs, it's in the bloodstream, and that's just it. The candida is one of the fungal, as I said before, is one of the fungal funguses that they use with this, and it's one of the things that is mixed in with Morgellons. So they use several different, and because of the fungus, this is what also leads to Lyme disease. That's something that leads into Lyme disease. But if you start using the right frequencies for fungi, you start to cure that. Garlic. Start eating garlic in your diet, man. Eat one garlic clove a day, and you will actually start to kill that fungus stuff off. If not only that, right? Not only that, again, garlic is also good for cleaning as well when it comes to this fungus. But again, the smell. Vinegar is good. Again, the smell. Lemon juice is really good. Baking soda is really good. I don't know about Epsom salt. Maybe you can use Epsom salt. I'm not sure. What else is good for cleaning? I think that'll be it for the cleaning products for now. There may be more out there though, but gotta find them. When it comes to these weapons, you definitely need to exercise though. You definitely got to. maybe like start doing jogs to get your blood pressure going or something like that. Start eating whole grain wheat to get to help you you know help you out with your lungs. Whole grain is good for the lungs and the bloodstream. Um, Cranberry juice is good for your kidneys. It's good for cleansing your kidneys out. What else? What else? I still haven't tried the Kaleido Silver, so I'm not too certain about that. But from what other TI said, it works great. Um, Kratom, I'm not sure how to spell it, but I was recommended Kratom by Matrix Adjustment. Haven't been able to get a hold of it yet, but I do plan on ordering it soon to try it out. But again, the project I wanted to do, and yes, it will take a while. And I want all TIs out there. Make a video discussing your experience with dealing with Chief Handler, and make sure you have the title stated Chief Handler in the title section. Spread the word for all TIs to do this. It's because of that we'll be able to find each other out there who we're not even aware of. Because I believe there are other TIs who are not even aware that there are channels out here that has all this useful information that could help them. I believe that there are TIs out there who are not aware of this, man. And if we don't help them, then they're not gonna have the means to help themselves, because they're not gonna know what we know, you know. Because I was at a point in time where I didn't even know. It wasn't until I started looking up radiation when I realized that my apartment unit was actually being radiated like crazy. I didn't know if it was a leak or what. Maybe it was something that happened upstairs. I didn't know what was going on. I did not know. But then the voices came, and I'm like, what the F is going on? Like, I'm like, how am I hearing people, and there's no one but me in the room? It just didn't make no sense. Thought it was V2K, but then then the next thing came up, and it was radiational-based hearing. And then it started to make sense. That's why they want your home filled with radiation. That's why they beam this stuff down. And that's when I discovered something. Since they like to beam radiation, what is something that can absorb it, so it won't just be sitting there. And that's when the aloe vera plants came into play. They absorb this stuff naturally. They want to remain covert as possible. So what would people think if they started seeing that happen? And that's why I feel bad for targets who, even if you have your own house, unless you have someone to watch it, someone trustworthy to watch it, they're gonna fuck with it, man. If you live in a secluded area, they're gonna fuck with you there, like constantly. If you live in a place where there are cameras, it gives them the edge to keep surveillance on you, but they can't do as much because at risk of exposing themselves, basically. So there's a benefit to being around a bunch of cameras, as well as a how should I say? I guess a non-benefit. They'll be able to keep more tabs on you, but there'll be less and less stuff that they can do. Man, I seen Odin's text on Vulcan Wolverine's channel the other day. Dude, at least I think it was Odin. I'm not certain. It may have been, but whoever that guy was, he ended up saying he was out in the middle of the desert of all places, and that they were driving jets above him. Jets, no joke, jets. And that is highly dangerous, man, because out there is a lot more dangerous, because they can do whatever they want, and there's not going to be any witnesses. This is why I want TIs to please, for your own sake, understand that whatever fear that you have within you is not yours. It's the fear they're projecting on you. Please make a video, make yourself known. Go ahead and share your targeting. And if it takes time for you to, adjust and get used to being able to do that, I understand. But trust me, that will help you out in the long run, because other TIs will see what's going on your end, and they can act as a witness towards you whenever you make your case. And trust me, Anything to get gang stalkers put behind bars will be less gang stalkers than any other TI has to put up with in the long run. So trust me, there would every TI, every real TI would be more than happy to help you in that department. And you can trust my word on that one. Oh yeah. Oh man. I think I'm gonna end this video here. Yeah, wow, that's like, oh, that's not too bad. It's like 40 minutes. Anyway, this is MM's TI strategy guide. I send both my love and prayers out to you all. I'm over and out.